All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be talking about our InterExchange Au Pair Abroad program. And I'm just going to have a basic presentation to go through the general details of the program. And if any questions arise, you can always feel free to type your questions into the box to the right if you have a Google account. My name is Gian Glass. I'm the Senior Program Coordinator for our Au Pair and English Conversation Coach programs. And this is James.
Hey everybody, I'm James Bridge. I'm the Program Manager here, and I'm not going to do much talking, just your producer, so if anything goes wrong, you can blame me. But we're excited to be with you and look forward to talking to you in the future as well. So should we get started with the presentation?
Yes.
All right.
All right, so today we're going to be discussing the following. What exactly is an au pair? I'm sure it's an interesting term. A lot of people haven't heard about it, so we're going to be going over what an au pair is, where in the world can I be an au pair, what are the requirements to be an au pair, what are some typical responsibilities, are there any special language requirements, what are the host families like? Will I have support? And how do I get started applying to be an au pair? So without further ado, let's get started. So before embarking on this journey to be an au pair, the first question you need to ask yourself is, how does one combine a love of travel with a desire to care for children? Do I want to combine a love of travel with my desire to care for children? If you cannot confidently say that you don't enjoy either of these two things, this is probably not the program for you. Since an au pair is a child care provider who lives with a host family abroad, it's super important for you to want to travel in this non-traditional way. So how can you do it? That's easy. With your love of travel and your love of children, become an au pair. All right, so first, one of the benefits of being an au pair is that you get to live with a host family. Living with a host family, you'll gain a much more authentic sense of what it might be like to live like a local. Since you'll be surrounded by your host family's way of life, traditions, and language, you're really going to be experiencing your immediate culture in a way that you might not if you were a student or a tourist, for example. Second is you'll gain experience working with children. So in terms of childcare, the ideal au pair candidate is flexible and willing to become a participating member of the host family. Your childcare duties may include taking the children to and from school, playing with the children, light housework related to childcare, preparing meals for the children, tutoring the children, and more. Another benefit is you'll make friends from around the world. So outside of your work hours, we really expect that you'll use your free time to travel, take classes, and hang out with friends. While your main priority obviously will be to care for your host children, on this type of cultural exchange program, we want you to also have the opportunity to learn from other au pairs from other countries. And lastly, as an au pair, you get to travel. So we expect that you will want to travel as much as you can in your free time, whether exploring your immediate surroundings or traveling to other cities throughout the country or even to nearby countries. It's important to do as much as you can in the time that you'll have abroad. All right, so where does InterExchange offer au pair placements? We have programs in several different countries around the world, mainly in Australia, New Zealand, and Europe. So I'm going to introduce the programs we offer without going into too much detail about the specific requirements of each. If you'd like to know the specific details, you can always check out our website or stay tuned for more webinars on our specific au pair programs. But for now, we're just going to go over the programs very generally. And in no particular order, we first have placements in Australia. So our international cooperator in Australia is based in the Sydney area, which is also where the majority of our host placements are. Other areas where we place au pairs include suburbs of Brisbane and Queensland, Melbourne and Victoria, and Perth in Western Australia. In Australia, au pairs commit to a period of 6 months with an option to extend for 6 more months or perhaps travel a bit independently after the program is complete. Next, we have France. France is one of our most popular destinations where we consistently send au pairs throughout the year. We have 3 different Au Pair France programs: Au Pair France Paris, Au Pair France South of France, and Au Pair France Short Term. Both the Paris and Short Term programs are based generally in the suburbs of Paris, usually about 30 minutes outside of the city, and our placements in the South of France tend to be along the beautiful French Mediterranean Riviera near the cities of Nice, Marseille, Saint-Tropez, very fancy. And you'll need to be able to prove that you've taken French to apply for our Paris and South of France programs, but no French language knowledge is necessary for our short-term programs, although it is preferable. So even if you don't have a French background, you can always consider the short-term program. Then we have Germany, where we have placements all over the country. While the majority of our placements are closer to the Netherlands border and Belgium border, in the metropolitan areas of Bonn, Cologne, Essen, we do have families near Munich in the south, Hamburg in the north, and Berlin in the east. No German knowledge is needed, as you'll have the option to take an intensive German class in Germany during your first month, and that's subsidized by your host family. It's a great way to not only learn the basics of the language, but make friends early on in your program. All right, next is the Netherlands. And like Germany, we have placements all throughout the country. In our experience, most applicants want to be placed in Amsterdam or as close to Amsterdam as possible. And I totally get it. Amsterdam is amazing. But there are lots of other great places to live and see in Holland. The public train system is fabulous and is connected to all major cities and most smaller towns. It's a relatively small country. A lot of people speak English there. And it doesn't take more than a few hours to get from the north to the south or east to the west, so it's easy to get around and meet up with your friends and travel throughout the country. All right, next is our Au Pair Italy short-term program. This is our newest Au Pair program, and we only offer the short-term program, so that's a 2 to 3 month program. Most placements are located in the Marche region of Italy, which is along the central eastern coast. It's a beautiful area with rolling hills, and as our participants have said, it has a very authentic Italian feel. This is the same area where we place our conversation coaches, teaching assistants, and summer camp counselors. So you'll have lots of opportunities to meet up with, hang out, and travel together with other InterExchange participants. Our Au Pair New Zealand program consists of 2 options that focus on 2 different age groups. First, our 5 and Up program is for those who wish to be more of a buddy to their host children, who will all be older than 5 years old. You'll be someone they can look up to and learn from. And then our 5 and Under program is a great option for those going into a career working with young children. The program is guided by the official New Zealand Early Childhood Education curriculum. So a qualified local teacher will visit you monthly to help guide your role as a key part of the children's early education. So that's for the 5 and Under program. Both the 5 and Up and 5 and Under New Zealand programs include a 2-day orientation in Auckland prior to your official start date with your host family. You'll meet other au pairs there, you'll learn what to expect living with a Kiwi family, and will receive training on caring for children, the New Zealand Early Childhood Curriculum, and child first aid. And finally, we have our Au Pair Spain program, which offers both long-term and short-term programs. The long-term program, ranging anywhere from 4 to 12 months, is special in that you not only get to be an au pair, but you'll also be a student. You'll be entering to Spain with a student visa that will require you to be registered at a Spanish language school where you'll take classes for 20 hours a week. Your class schedule will be modified so that it doesn't interfere with your au pair schedule, which is great because actually most au pairs end up taking classes together in the late mornings and early afternoons, making it easy to connect with other au pairs in your area. The short-term program, the short-term au pair program is anywhere from 2 to 3 months and does not require you to take language classes since you'll just be going in with your tourist visa. But if you'd like to take classes, we can help arrange them with you. All right, so one question that comes up a lot is what are the general requirements to be an au pair? And although each specific program has its own program-specific requirements, across the board, our general requirements are quite basic. Because we offer cultural exchange programs, we want to be able to offer the experience to as wide a range of participants as we can. So as you can see here, we need to know that you're a US citizen with a US passport, that you have a high school diploma, have at least 200 hours of childcare experience that is verified by your childcare references, and have a clear criminal history. All other requirements are program specific. So for example, Au Pair Germany requires that you're between the ages of 18 and 26, where Au Pair Australia requires that you're between the ages of 18 and 30. Another example is Au Pair France Paris requires you to not only know basic French, but also requires you to take French language classes in France for the duration of your program. So these are just examples of some of the program-specific requirements. They're usually determined by visa stipulations. So if you're interested in a specific program, please be sure to examine each specific program page on our website for more information. Another question that we get a lot are what are some typical au pair responsibilities? And it's important to know that your responsibilities as an au pair are only related to childcare. You're not there as a housekeeper, and you'll never have to clean the whole house, do everyone's laundry, or cook dinner for everyone, unless of course you want to. Instead, your duties will really be related to your host children. So aside from interacting with them, like playing with them and helping them with homework, for example, you may be responsible to prepare some small meals for the children, do some light laundry for them, and tidy up toys after playing. Of course, as a member of the household, you might contribute to small, everyday tasks like helping to clear the table after a meal, but only in a way that's equal to the contributions of other members of the family. All right, so many are curious to know, what are the host families like? And these are just some pictures of our au pairs with their host children, their host families, having a good time. First, all of our host families are screened by our international cooperators for safety. They're required to submit application forms, references, have an interview, and pay a program fee, just like our au pairs here in the US. Many of our host families are repeat host families who've hosted au pairs previously and are very familiar with the philosophy of cultural exchange and what it means to host a foreigner in their home. They offer to provide you with free room and board in exchange for the cultural benefit of exposing their children to someone from another country and culture. So for everyone out there who may be hesitant to travel to a country where English is not the native language, do know that most families have at least one parent who can sufficiently speak English. If there is ever anything important that you do not want misconstrued or misinterpreted, please let us know so we can help translate for you. In terms of a typical family profile, most families live in suburban areas and have multiple children, usually between the ages of 6 and 12. Of course, this varies with each family, but you can expect to work with children in this age range. If you have any specific preferences, whether it's number of children, ages of children, or anything else, please let us know. While we can never guarantee we'll be able to honor your requests, we'll do our absolute best to match them. They're located in the suburbs. Okay, will I have support abroad? It's a very popular question. First, you will have transitional support from our international cooperator. The cooperating agency is the agency who has screened your host family and has worked with us here at InterExchange to place you with this family. Once you're in your host country, they will be your first point of contact if you ever have any emergencies, general questions, need advice on how to handle a certain situation with your host family, really anything that you can think of. They also host informal events and gatherings throughout the year to help au pairs get together in a more structured setting. Sometimes these meetups include trips to cultural sites, and other times it may be a simple picnic outside. Your cooperator will keep you updated on the meetup schedule throughout your program. To meet other au pairs, we will always invite you to our InterExchange Facebook group, so you can connect with other InterExchange au pairs traveling around the same time as you and au pairs who are already in country. Additionally, our cooperators have their own Facebook groups that you'll be invited to connect with even more au pairs from other countries around the world who've gone through our partner agency. And remember, you always have us here at InterExchange. We will check in on you throughout your program, but we also encourage you to reach out to us at any time throughout your program. We're always here to help. All right, so if you feel like you're ready to start your application, you'll want to log on to our website at www.interexchange.org to select your program. So let's just watch this short video to see how to do it. All right, so once you're on the home page, you'll want to select Travel Abroad. This will bring you to a page with all of our programs on it. And once you've chosen the program you like, let's choose Au Pair Spain Short Term as an example. You'll want to scroll through and click on its picture. Make sure to read all of the information, including the program details, the program deadlines, and start dates, and frequently asked questions. And once you've read through all of that, you'll just scroll back up, click on Sign Up. You'll click on the blue Sign Up button to create your own free account, and then you'll just want to follow the prompts from there. All right, so oops. Let's see. Go to the next page. All right, well, this concludes our Au Pair Abroad presentation. I hope it's been insightful and inspiring. We have a few more minutes for any last questions, which you can type in on the right side of your screen.
And it looks like we've got a few, so let's bring everybody back to our New York office. Hey everybody. Hi. Again, in case you missed our intro, I'm James Bridge, and this is Gian, who's been presenting for you today. And I think that we do have some great questions here. So first one says, from Georgie, my brother is 4, he's my main childcare experience. How should I prove that? Should I get my parents to write letters?
That's a great question. We get that a lot, actually. We can definitely accept references from family members, but we need to be able to also have references from non-family members. Our au pair agencies abroad and their host families really like to see that you have experience working with outside families and that you babysat in different capacities. So if you want to include a reference from your immediate family, you're absolutely welcome to, but we will still need 2 other child care references from non-family members.
And I'd also add just that it is very different to move in with a host family in another country. Yeah. You might think that it's going to be easy, but it's always a little bit of an adjustment. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind that you're going to be taking care of these kids, and then at the end of the day, your host family is where you're living as well. So one day the kids could be acting up, they might burst into your room and it's not your scheduled time. But for the right person, that's kind of part of the fun. You're a member of this family, and we're looking for people that have the type of attitude and the energy that works well in a context like that. So let's see. We have Shadi who asked, what kind of childcare experience should I have? I think we kind of just covered that, but do you want to reiterate?
Yeah, just to reiterate the childcare experience, we probably most prefer to receive references from families that you babysat for directly, but we do also accept references from any sort of experience working with children in any capacity. So whether that's babysitting or tutoring, teaching, counseling, mentoring, as long as you have someone who can attest to you having worked with children previously, we're happy to include those references with your application.
All right, how long can my program be?
That's another good question, and it really depends on the program that you sign up for. So in general, our au pair programs are long-term programs. We really expect that you'll commit to up to a year if the program requires that. But depending on the country, it can really range anywhere from, for the long-term programs, 4 months up to 12 months. And then for the short-term programs, they're always between 2 to 3 months. So you'll just want to specify on your application form how long you'd like to be abroad and when your desired start date is. And we try to find a host family to match up with those same dates and duration.
And what about traveling? I mean, I feel like most people would probably like to add a little bit of time and travel on their own with their friends. How does that work?
Definitely. I mean, as long as the visa allows it, we really encourage you to travel either before your program or after your program, in between your program. Like, you will have time off on your programs to either on the weekends, or if you're doing a long-term program, you may have a paid week or 2 off, and we really encourage you to travel in those times.
And of course, some of that will depend on visa regulations, as you said.
Yes.
And in most cases, that does allow for some personal travel, which is great.
Yep.
All right, and let's see. Can I be placed with a family near my friend on the program? Good question.
Yes. So we receive a lot of applications from friends, family members, that want to go abroad together. And while we can never place you and your friend or family member in the same household, if we are aware that you're traveling together and you'd like to be placed together, or like as close to each other as possible, we take that into account. We let our international cooperator know, and we do our best to find families in close proximity to each other and who are looking for au pairs to start around the same time, so that we can, honor that request for you. Of course, we can never guarantee it. It always depends on host family availability. But if we're aware, we will try, definitely.
Great. Is there an age limit?
Again, it depends on the program. Most programs allow you to go up to 30 years old, between 18 and 30. But depending on the country, Germany's 18 to 26, Australia, New Zealand, 18 to 30, France, 18 to 29. So it really depends on the country that you're applying to. We do list the exact age limits on our program-specific pages. So if you do have a specific program in mind, check out our website. That information is listed up there.
And when we say those age ranges, that's generally because of a visa requirement, which is official for that particular country.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another good question. If I love my family, can I extend my stay?
I get this question, after people have started their programs, and whether they're doing a short-term program or a long-term program, it often does happen that you're just having so much fun, you get caught up in the moment, and you want to stay longer. But again, that depends on the visa. If you do have some wiggle room, like let's say that you're doing a long-term program, you're doing Au Pair New Zealand, the visa that you'll be going in with is something called a working holiday visa. It allows you to stay in New Zealand for up to 12 months. You're allowed to work with your family for the full 12 months. Let's say that you and your family are originally committed to just a 10-month placement. And you started your program, and both of you are really feeling good about the match. You really want to be with each other for the full year. Technically, as long as the two of you have talked about it, you've informed us here at InterExchange, you've informed our cooperator in New Zealand that you guys are trying to make this mutual decision to stay a little bit longer. You still have 2 months left on that visa if you're only doing a 10-month program. So you could extend up to the 12 months with that family if you and your family agreed to it. But then there are some other programs that restrict you from extending a stay. Like Au Pair Australia, you're only allowed to be with one employer for up to 6 months at a time on the particular visa that you'll be with. So you can't extend your stay with your host family after the 6 months. Or if you're doing a short-term program, you can't extend after the 12-week limit. And that's a visa thing because you're just going in as a tourist, and you can't stay in the Schengen area for longer than 12 weeks or 90 days. So it depends on the country. And again, I'm happy to talk this through with anybody. Like, you can always email me directly, any questions about, these specific restrictions.
And what's that email address again?
Well, you can email our general email at workabroad@interexchange.org, or you can always email me directly. My email is jglass, JGLASS, @interexchange.org, or any member of our team. We're always happy to help.
And our number is 1-800-597-3675. We're happy to talk to you by phone as well. Just about the question of extending your stay, I'd only add that after your program is finished and you've returned to the US, it's a great idea to keep in touch with your host family. And in most cases, that's what people want to do. But you might forget to send a letter, a handwritten letter. It's a really nice way to kind of take a moment and quietly reflect on your time. It's a very healthy thing to do, and we would highly encourage taking all the time that you can and definitely staying in touch. One more kind of technicality is, what if I turn 30 during my program? So there's age limits that we already discussed a little bit, but what happens if somebody's no longer within that range?
Most programs that have an age limit of 30 that we list on our website as like 18 to 30, for example, usually as long as you enter into the country as a 30-year-old, even if you turn 31 on your program, it's still okay. But it depends on the country too. So if you are 30 and you think you will turn 31 on your program, let me know, and I'll look into your specific situation, and we can discuss a plan for you that way.
Sure. Of course, there's a lot of specifics depending on the country that you're going to, and there's many of them, and we'll talk you through all of the details about whatever it is that your goals are and the country that you'd like to visit. But all of these programs, I think, share the common thread of live-in childcare. We're really looking for people that have that special kind of energy that it takes to work with kids, and a passion for travel. So that's true across the board. It looks like that's our last question for the day. But once again, if anybody has any other questions, you have our contact information, 1-800-597-3675, workabroad@interexchange.org. Thank you, Gian, for your presentation.
Thank you,
anything you
James.
want to add?
No, I mean, I'm really happy that everyone could join us, and I really look forward to working with some of you in the future, sending you product au pairs.
And we're going to be doing a lot more of these webinars moving forward about specific countries, about our other programs, other topics. So stay tuned, and we will look forward to being in touch.
All right, thank you, and have a good day.